Unitarian Universalist congregation in Stuart, Florida. Today is Sunday, September 11th, 2022. My name is Deb Harris, and I'll be your worship associate today. We're happy to have Rev Bob MacDonald in the pulpit today. We are a welcoming congregation. We welcome people of all gender identities, ethnicities, ages, and backgrounds. It's wonderful to see all our vaccinated members in the sanctuary, and welcome to those of you who are joining us via YouTube. To be put on our email list or to find out more information about us, please go to our website at tcuuc.org. Note the email link to request our online newsletter. Visitors, if you're comfortable, we'd love to have you step up to the microphone here and introduce yourself. If you're comfortable, anyone? Not to put you on the spot, but come on up and just tell us your name and we can welcome you.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. My name is Miguel. It's my first time here. So, for me, it was almost meant to attend somewhere else, but obviously, it was meant to be here. So, I'm blessed to be here. I'm grateful. So, thank you, for all inviting me.
Welcome.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
We're glad you're here.
Thank you. Thank you.
And now a few announcements. Remember that on the first and third Tuesdays at the Stuart Veterans Memorial Park, downtown Stuart, at noon, there's a brown bag lunch. Also, Reverend Bob holds his current event discussions on Friday at 11. You can email him if you'd like the link to join the Zoom. And Tai Chi is now being offered here on Fridays at 9:30 in the morning. And there is a wonderful teacher and a very friendly group. You can contact Judy Bajoris for more information, but I highly recommend it. We thank all those who are helping with our service today. Jackie Robbins, always for her beautiful music. Our greeters, our host, Karina Poloni, our tech wizard, Chris McGann, Marguerite Gregory for the coffee and cookies on the patio. So now just please be sure that your cell phone is silenced, and we'll enjoy our morning prelude. you. And now Reverend Bob will light our chalice.
Thank you for the reminder.
For the gift of this day and for our community of spiritual nature and compassion, we give thanks. We light this chalice as a symbol of our faith. May our many sparks meet and merge in communion of heart and soul. For my opening words, I wanted to share a story with you that I first read in the Daily Cause column, but I see that it's been published in other places as well. We'll have a visual here in a moment. On its surface, it's a story about daffodils. But more importantly, it's a story about love and devotion. Beyond that, it can remind us that even though every day we're bombarded with stories about racism and hatred and violence spreading, there's a lot of stories about love and kindness and generosity and thoughtfulness that can be found if you just look. If you ever venture north during the months of April and May and find yourself on 70 Cross Highway in Redding, Connecticut, you'll smell it before you see it. Redding's daffodil field. There, after you stop and stare amongst the now 50,000 daffodils, you can take a stroll, sit down and read a book or share lunch, or just be silent and breathe. This field of daffodils has its beginning with a man named Bud MacDonald, who loved his wife Florence, whom he met when he left the Air Force at the end of World War II, and before he became a high school teacher at Joel Barlow High School. After they married, they built a home in Redding in the late 1940s. Florence loved daffodils, and because Bud loved Florence, he started planting them each spring to bring her joy. Each year, he planted more bulbs, and each spring, the field became more colorful and fragrant. After their 60th anniversary, Florence died, but Bud continued to plant daffodils to honor her memory. He claimed that he could plant 200 bulbs in an hour. When he was 97, the community started to join him to continue planting more daffodils. The local elementary school would take field trips there, and the children would get their hands dirty as they learned to grow the flowers. Bud would tell them all about Florence and their life together and how much he loved her. The students of his from the high school, who were now adults, they would bring their families to come by and visit Bud and to tend the garden. He invited anyone who stopped by to feel free to walk the property and enjoy the flowers. When Bud passed away in August of 2019 at the age of 103, the land was seen as a valuable prize for developers, and it went on the market. The town thought this would mean the end of the daffodil farm. But Bud's neighbors, Stacy and Ned, bought the property to make sure it stayed a local landmark and a testament to true love. And this is Stacy and her mom, who now lives in Bud's house. The field now remains a gathering place for community members and visitors alike who come to spend time admiring one man's labor of love. It's a reminder that love and care can spread and bring people together. So that's our opening words for the day. And now we'll sing our first hymn, For All That Is Our Life. It's hymn 128. And if you're comfortable, please stand as we sing through our masks. And now let us recite our affirmation, speaking the first verse and singing the second through our masks. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. And now we're bringing back one of our old favorites, A Story for All Ages. And in honor of September 11th, I wanted to share with you one of my favorite books. It's 14 Cows for America by Carmen Agrediti, illustrated by Thomas Gonzalez. And the pictures will be up soon, I hope. While we're waiting, I'll just note this is a true story. The book was done in collaboration with the young man who's featured in this story, who was a Maasai who came to the United States to study to be a doctor and was in New York City on 9/11. She says, hang on.
Well, while we're holding on, I'd like to wish you all a great harvest moon. The harvest moon. I'm filling in. I just called to say I love you. I just called to say that I care.
All right.
Let there be cows.
Thank you, Jackie. All right. The remote village waits for a story to be told, much like you all. News travels slowly to this corner of Kenya. As Kameli nears his village, he watches a herd of bull giraffes cross the open grassland. He smiles. He's been away a long time. A girl sitting under a guava tree sees him first and cries out to the others. The children run to him with the speed and grace of cheetahs. He greets them with a gentle touch on the head, a warrior's blessing. The rest of the tribe soon surrounds Kameli. These are his people. These are the Maasai. Once they were feared warriors. Now they live peacefully as nomadic cattle herders. They treat their cows as kindly as they do their children. They sing to them. They give them names. They shelter the young ones in their homes. Without the herd, the tribe might starve. To the Maasai, the cow is life. Supa, hello. Kameli hears again and again. Everyone wants to greet him. His eyes find his mother across the Enkang, the ring of huts with their roofs of sun-baked dung. She spreads her arms and calls to him, Akua, welcome, my son. Kameli sighs. He's home. This is sweeter and sadder because he cannot stay. He must return to the faraway country where he's learning to become a doctor. He thinks of New York then. He remembers September. A child asks if he has brought any stories. Kameli nods. He has brought with him one story. It has burned a hole in his heart. But first, he must speak with the elders. Later, in a tradition as old as the Maasai, the rest of the tribe gathers under an acacia tree to hear the story. There is a terrible stillness in the air as the tale unfolds. With growing disbelief, men, women, and children listen. Buildings so tall they can touch the sky? Fires so hot they can melt iron? Smoke and dust so thick they can block out the sun? The story ends. More than 3,000 souls are lost. A great silence falls over the Maasai. Kameli waits. He knows his people. They are fierce when provoked, but easily moved to kindness when they hear of suffering or injustice. At last, an elder speaks. He is shaken, but above all, he's sad. What can we do for these poor people? Nearby, a cow lows, heads turned toward the herd. To the Maasai, the cow is life. Turning to the elders, Kameli offers his only cow, Ankaris. He asks for their blessing. They give it gladly, but they want to offer something more. The tribe sends word to the United States Embassy in Nairobi. In response, the embassy sends a diplomat. His jeep jounces along the dusty, ragged roads. He's hot and tired. He thinks he's going to meet with the Maasai elders. He cannot be more wrong. As the jeep nears the edge of the village, the man sits up. Clearly, this is no ordinary diplomatic visit. This is a ceremony. Hundreds of Maasai greet the Americans in full tribal splendor. At the sight of the brilliant blood-red tunics and spectacular beaded collars, he can only marvel. It is a day of sacred ritual. Young warriors dance, leaping into the air like fish from a stream. Women sing mournful songs. Children fill their bellies with milk. Speeches are exchanged. And now it is time. Kameli and his people gather on a sacred knoll far from the village. The only sound is the gentle chiming of cowbells. The elders chant a blessing in Ma as the Maasai people of Kenya present. 14 cows for America. And just a note in the back, I won't read the whole thing, but Kameli knew from the time he was a child that he wasn't meant to be a fierce warrior. He had a gentle soul, and his tribe encouraged him to become a doctor. He said when he was in New York City, his warrior heart could not sit still, though. He wanted to do something to help. And so when he went back to his village and told his story, he said, we were helping to heal a people far away. And just so you know, those sacred healing cows can never be slaughtered. They remain in our care in Kenya under the guidance of the elder. The original 14 have calved, and the herd now numbers 35, and I imagine it's even more now. They continue to be a symbol of hope from the Maasai to their brothers and sisters in America. The Maasai wish is that every time the Americans hear this simple story of 14 cows, they'll find a measure of comfort and peace. And now, joys and sorrows.
A leader from a former church used to tell me that he really liked the stories for all ages because it significantly upped his chances of having an idea what I was talking about. So we're going to be continuing to do stories most weeks. Karen, we have a couple candidates. Do you want to take them now, or do you want to wait until now is good? Merrick and Madeline, would you rather stay for the sermon? I mean, it's Karen is ready to go to class if you want to follow her. Now, this is our time to share matters of joy or sorrow. We hope that as you share yours, you will know that you are being heard and supported. We ask that they be personal and that they be brief, especially that they not be political, that they not be announcements. You know the Bob story here. So anyway, those who have a matter of personal joy or sorrow to share, please come forward and do so to the mic, or if you prefer, where you're seated or standing where you're seated. Anyone?
David Gray, and I simply want to move a stone for the many who died on this stage.
Thank you, David. Anyone else? I'll simply let you know, I was with Gail McCarthy for a few minutes this week in the hospital, and she's looking forward to going to rehab and, of course, getting back to her home. So she seemed in good spirits. We wish her the best, Gail McCarthy. Now, we also always move a stone for those that we haven't said out loud, because we all have people who are on our minds and hearts. Thank you, Janet. The meditation is this from the back of the hymnal by Kenneth Patton. Let us worship with our eyes and ears and fingertips. Let us love the world through heart and mind and body. We feed our eyes upon the mystery and revelation in the faces of our brothers and sisters. We seek to know the wistfulness of the very young and the very old, the wistfulness of people in all times of life. We seek to understand the shyness behind arrogance, the fear behind pride, the tenderness behind clumsy strength, the anguish behind cruelty. All life flows into a great common life if we will only open our eyes to our companions. Let us worship not in bowing down, not with closed eyes and stopped ears. Let us worship with the opening of all the windows of our beings, with the full outstretching of our spirits. Life comes with singing and laughter, with tears and confiding, with a rising wave too great to be held in the mind and heart and body, to those who have fallen in love with life. Let us worship and let us learn to love. Kenneth Patton. And now moments of silence. And now our hymn, Spirit of Life, 123. We hum a verse, we sing the verse. now our morning offering. We hope that all who come here experience generosity, and we hope all who come here are glad to give back in generosity. We need you too. And now those who have heard the voice calling, Bob needs ushers this morning. Please come forward and gratefully serve.
The name of this tune is Sholem Aleichem, and that means peace to all.
Yes, this is our temple too. Thank you. And now our world-famous choir. If they are on YouTube, and they are, they're world-famous, and we're grateful for them for sure.
And today we're going to sing 3 verses of the song, and when we get to the 4th, we're going to repeat the first verse, and please join in. You'll know the melody. So please, choir, stand so that
Facing you. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Facing out. I'm not good at this. I've never done it before. I've never done it before.
All the rehearsing and everything.
We've been rehearsing all week.
You can tell. That's all right, right there. Jackie plays first and then we sing the second. Jackie plays first and then we sing and then we sing the second.
Yes, Jackie plays first alone. And then we
Does
sing
he have
the
an
second.
introduction?
Yep, I do the intro.
Okay. B flat. They said.
Okay.
As much as that was an upper, I want to start before the sermon and share with you a downer I had this week in the hope that it might prevent somebody else from experiencing the same thing. On Thursday, I got a text message that said, "Are you there?" And I wrote back that this was my mistake. I wrote back, "Wrong number." I got a second text message. This is Dahlia looking for Anna. "Are you there?" Wrote back, "Wrong number." But out of curiosity, I checked the number at the top. You know, it comes with a number at the top. And it said the number was from Ohio, which could mean anything. I guess it means the phone started there. So then that evening, I decided to join with a special deal, Amazon Prime. I wanted to see the Nicole Kidman movie. I think it's Being the Ricardos. Has anybody seen that? Yeah. And another movie. So I contact Amazon Prime and I get the message, your account is being blocked, call security. So I called security, the number given, and I'm told that there are a number of people attacking my account from China, Mexico, and Ohio. And we go through this long story in which security tells me to let them take over my computer and find what's on it attacking me. And this takes about an hour, and we have to conclude. And we have an appointment to resume this defense the next day at 1 after our Friday Zoom. So the next day at 1, I'm back and the call comes, and we begin talking about what I have to do to protect myself. He had told me, now here's a number. If anybody else wants to talk to you about this, be sure they know this number. So, okay. I also said to myself, yeah, but why would I know that that tells me anything about you? But anyhow, so the next day I'm in my second session, and he tells me, look at your screen, look at the people who are attacking you or all the various attacks, and look at the bottom. Somebody is trying to get $15,000 out of your Bank of America account. So at this point, I'm needing a drink. No, not that. But we talk a little bit further, and I say, excuse me, my wife is leaving. I have to give her something. So I go tell Lori she's leaving. She's going to the bank 2 blocks away. Go to the woman at the desk and ask her to see if somebody's trying to draw from our accounts. So she goes over there, and I continue talking to him, and he tells me, you need to put this app on your phone, and you need to put the Bank of America app on your phone, and you need to put $15,000 in that app. So then I tell him, I don't do that. I would never do that, and I hang up. And I try to call Lori on the phone to be sure things are in place, and I keep calling. I can't get her because she had tried to call me, but I was on the phone. So then she comes back. It's 2 blocks away, and she says, the woman says, hang right up. Well, I had hung up. And she go over to the bank and discover there is no one trying to attack our accounts, but I should change our accounts, change everything. And we wound up doing that. So we come home and the computer is dead. I can't do anything with the computer. So I suspect my helper in Amazon security has wreaked his revenge. So anyhow, I had to tell you all that. So you're all probably smart enough to know, but that if you get a text you don't recognize, you don't respond, Chris. Wrong number. Did you know that? I thought, somehow I thought you.
I also know that if you've ever tried to get a person on the phone with Amazon, it's impossible. So if they call you from Amazon, it's not.
What I didn't know, and I'll pass on to you, is one of the apps he wanted on my phone and on my computer is called AnyDesk. Has anybody heard of that, AnyDesk? Yeah, I Googled AnyDesk and found out it's a favorite of scammers. Of course, I found that out after the fact. All right, can I still do a sermon? You'll understand the shape I'm in as I'm doing this sermon. Do you believe in prayer? Do I? What's the point? These were some of the questions that came recently. I asked, I received. You know, I get a lot of help here when I ask for it, and I get a lot of help here when I don't ask for it. I came from a family of no religion. Still, my hard-working mother taught us a bedtime prayer. Maybe you learned it too. Now I lay me down to sleep. I think that was in lieu of a sedative or warm milk. Something to help the kids drift off. Had we stopped and thought about if I should die before I wake, well, that might not have been good and it might have led to insomnia. Just as God and damn have been unhelpfully associated, so has prayer become associated with thought, as in thoughts and prayers. When we know or surmise no good is going to come from either. Because it has come to mean there is nothing more we can do, but it sounds as if we wish we could do something. I don't pray expecting a higher power to intervene. I don't pray in order to shift responsibility. It's often just for calm to see a path forward, or my responsibility more clearly. It may come from some felt helplessness, but I don't expect it to leave me there. What is higher power talk about in the STEP programs? Does wanting a higher power, like a greater good to work on me, to lift my vision, does that really diminish me or does it empower me? I think the latter. When I pray, hoping someone will get better health-wise, or be better about the steps they need to take, and definitely when I pray to do better about the steps I need to take, that's not about the heavens parting. It's more like expecting more of myself, or thinking, what more can I do? I love our hymn, There Is More Love Somewhere. I'm going to keep on till I find it. Prayer for me is a way of keeping on. I'm not expecting it to start raining love. Love is something I want to do better. I'm raising my hand to be stretched. Like so much in life, if you want things to improve, like in any relationship you are in, you had better be open to figuring out that you need to do some improving yourself. At least part of it. I picked up in seminary the phrase via negativa or via negativa. I think it meant you can't limit or describe in human terms what is beyond human terms. I took it to mean it's often easier to say of important things what they are not than what they are. I find that to be true about most things religious. I am more sure of what deity isn't than what deity is. I am more sure of what faith isn't than what faith is. I know prayer is not appealing to or appeasing a power somewhere to live up to a supernatural bargain or a supernatural reputation for God's sake. I think prayer is often agonizing over trying to tap into what and where that compassion is we have been told is the heart of religion, and we want to be the heart of the universe. We want it to be present where it has been missing. So prayer always means, how can I help? What can I do that I am missing? So if it doesn't lead to doing differently, then it's in the thoughts and prayers department. Talk. There are a number of religious words we at TCUUC have not been able to agree on over my years here. Like the word church. What are we? Many have found the word church has too much negative association. They prefer congregation, which sounds like a gathering, a community. Vero UU calls itself a fellowship. Many UU congregations use fellowship. We were incorporated as a society, I believe. The way that difference of opinion usually ended was something like this. We need to grow, so we need people to find us, so we hope enough people are looking for a different kind of church, a more welcoming and inclusive kind of church. We are TCUUC. And you can say the last C is congregation, church, club, community, whatever you need it to be. You know, we don't even agree on TCUUC. I see it also as UUCTC. Another word I've had to protect in the past here, really over there when we entered the other building, another word is the word worship. I've heard people there say, but it sounds like we have to grovel, bow down, submit, prostrate ourselves before a medieval monarch. And we are better than that. You know, in a former life, in a former denomination, every time we did communion, we read the ritual. And I know some of you have heard this. We are not worthy so much as to gather up the crumbs under thy table. Anybody heard that before? You don't have to say in public. I felt for a long time, did Jesus want his followers to feel like that? Not worthy so much as to gather up the crumbs. We are better than that. Worship means what we find worthy, what we attribute worth to, indeed what we value. So we come here to work on what we value and how to make that what we are living for. Listen for a moment to Ralph Waldo Emerson. A person will worship something, have no doubt about that. We may think our tribute is paid in secret in the dark recesses of our hearts, but it will out. That which dominates our imaginations and our thoughts will determine our lives and character. Therefore, it behooves us to be careful what we worship. For what we are worshiping, we are becoming. Ralph Waldo Emerson. If I ask you, and I am asking you, but not to answer now, if I ask you the most memorable moment of worship you have had in your life. And I would love you to tell me that later, some words out there or in an email. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you can write me the most meaningful moment of worship you have had so far. It may not have been in church. It probably wasn't. It wasn't for me. Mine was on I-95 in West Haven, Connecticut. Gee, Connecticut's getting a lot of mention today. After the birth of my firstborn. If you have been on that interstate, if you haven't, it was like 95 going into Miami. You were trying to miss or not miss the express lane. Well, regardless of the sleepless, exhausting night, it was morning has broken for me. And that road and sky never looked again the same as I drove home that morning. So yes, Ralph, or Waldo to your friends, we will worship something, and we come here to be honest and intentional about what that is. Now, spirituality is another word which does not exactly unify us. It means different things, to say the least or the most. UUs are not known for spirituality, in good part because spirituality, for many, has the scent of otherworldliness. This world is not our home, we are only passing through. But that translates, don't try to improve things, eat, drink, and be merry. Fatalism. When the board hired me for the second time, April 2020, almost each board member said to me, "Help us with spirituality." I took that to mean we are in the nightmare of COVID quarantine. Spirituality will help us survive, personally and as a congregation. And through my times here, most new people looking for a church or congregation cited spirituality as what they were seeking. But for UU, there's always a link between spirituality and social activism, confronting social evil. And many people, or some anyway, want spirituality, but not the link. Our early presidents, like Washington, Adams, and Jefferson, knew all about the European religious wars, bloodshed, Catholic versus Protestant, from abolitionists down to the civil rights struggle, and now UU the vote. We have to fight for democracy, and we have to fight for diversity, because our number one value is the dignity and worth of everybody. We can't remain the 1950s America run by old white guys. It's a challenge. Did I just hear an old white guy clapping? This one would. It's a challenge to explain the linkage between spirituality and activism against social evil. But it's a history we're proud of, and we have to keep trying. So spirituality is another thing, easier to say what it is not. It is not an escape to another world, so we don't have to work on this one or get it right. Even the word religion has found disagreement. Gee, I'm making us sound like a disagreeable crowd, aren't I? But I'm talking now about 15 years. The word religion has found disagreement within UU. So many people have stepped away from unhealthy religious experiences. Can we agree on another word? What would it be? What else captures what we try to do here better? I learned in college that that religion, the word, is rooted in choice. So it's what we choose to be true and will do our best to make true. So religion is about committing to choices we have made, and in honesty, know we want to do better. Likewise, the word and practices of prayer. If prayer is asking for special interest or help from a powerful being beyond ourselves, that prayer might as well begin just in case or to cover all bases. Whitehead, the philosopher, defined religion, including spirituality and prayer, as what we do with our inwardness. What we do with our inwardness, and we all have that. The tradition calls that soul. It's something we all have, whatever we might call it. Over my career, prayer for me personally has morphed from wordiness to silence. Intentional silence is challenging and nourishing. For an extrovert, it can be painful but rewarding. I think we had a Quaker service here about a dozen years ago at Marcy's suggestion in the other room. As I sat in that circle, I hoped it wouldn't conclude with a coronary. It was memorable. Prayer is a practice of seeking and finding strength. And as we proclaim proudly, there is not one right way. But for many, it is a way of finding your own inner resolve and fortitude, giving your inwardness its due. The hymn is number 100, Peace Like a River, 4 verses. If you're comfortable, feel free to stand. If you prefer, feel free to sit. Please be seated as Deb extinguishes these closing words. They're by Denise Levertov. And all so quiet, I don't know when it began. A gratitude had begun to sing in me. Was there some moment dividing song from no song? When does dew fall begin? When does night fold its arms over our hearts to cherish them? When is daybreak? Denise Levertov.
Go in peace.